Welcome back to the deep dive. Our mission here is, well, it's simple. We take these incredibly influential, research-heavy sources and we distill them into something you can actually use. And today, we are tackling a giant. We're doing a deep dive into Jim Collins's monumental book, Good to Great, Why Some Companies Make the Leap and Others Don't.
And we really need to be clear about what this book is and what it isn't. This is not, another management fad book.
Right. Not based on one CEO's gut feeling.
No, this was a 5-year, data-driven, just incredibly rigorous study. They looked at companies that made this measurable, sustained leap from just okay to, truly outstanding. We're talking outperforming the market by 7 times over 15 years.
Wow.
So we're here to understand the blueprint, not, the height.
Okay, so let's strip it all back then. If you take away the luck, the charisma, all the noise, what's the central question this research is trying to answer for us? What really separates the great from the merely good?
The core thesis from Collins is it's almost shockingly simple, but it's profoundly difficult to do. He says greatness isn't luck. It's not a secret strategy. It is the outcome of a culture built on 3 pillars: disciplined people, disciplined thought, and disciplined action.
That's it? That's the whole roadmap?
That's the entire roadmap laid out for anyone who's willing to follow it.
I love that framework. But before we get into those pillars, Collins kicks off with a warning that, for me, really sets the tone. He says, good is the enemy of great.
It's such a powerful line.
It is. Why is being good so dangerous?
Because good is comfortable, it's safe, it pays the bills, it keeps shareholders happy enough. It doesn't demand the pain that comes with real change.
So you just plateau.
You plateau. Most companies, and frankly most of us, we settle for good enough. So our mission today is to dig into the 7 concepts that Collins found that push a company past that comfortable starting point. Let's start with the foundation. Disciplined people.
This first one on leadership, it was probably the most counterintuitive part for me, especially today. Collins calls it level 5 leadership. And you're telling me the absolute best companies were not led by those big, charismatic celebrity CEOs we see on magazine covers.
It's exactly what the data showed. It was almost a rule. The good to great companies were led by a very specific kind of person, a level 5 leader.
Okay, so what defines them?
It's a paradox. They have this blend of extreme personal humility on one hand and just intense professional will on the other. They're not looking for the spotlight. They are just relentlessly focused on getting results for the organization.
So it's not that they lack ambition, it's that their ambition is pointed outward at the company, not inward at themselves.
Precisely. They'll credit luck or their team when things go well, but if something goes wrong, they look right in the mirror first thing, and they set up their successors for even greater success, which is the ultimate anti-ego move.
That really sets the tone for the entire culture. And once you have that at the top, the next step is building the team, which brings us to another idea that flips business logic on its head. First who, then what?
Right. Traditional thinking is you figure out your strategy first, where you're going, and then you hire the people to get you there.
Of course.
Collins found that the great companies did the exact opposite. They focused almost obsessively on getting the right people on the bus, and maybe more importantly, the wrong people off the bus. And they did all that before they figured out exactly where the bus was going.
That feels, I don't know, a bit reckless. You're saying they hired a whole team of people without knowing if they were going to be building software or selling shoes. How can the who be more important than the what?
Because the goal isn't just to execute one strategy perfectly today. The goal is to build an organization that can adapt and thrive for decades. If you hire smart, disciplined people based on their character and their work ethic, not just their specific skills for today's plan, they will figure out the destination with you. And when the market shifts, and it always does,
The right people will pivot.
the right people will pivot. The wrong people will complain, they'll resist. So the adaptability of your team is the long-term strategy. Great people are more important than a great strategy because strategies become obsolete. Great people don't.
That's a huge insight.
So now you have these disciplined people on the bus. The next step is instilling a very specific mindset, disciplined thought. And the first part of this is maybe the most profound idea in the whole book. It's the need to confront the brutal facts.
The Stockdale paradox. I love the story behind this. It's named after Admiral Jim Stockdale, right? A prisoner of war in Vietnam.
For 7 years, yes. And he noticed something about the prisoners who didn't make it out.
They were the optimists.
They were the optimists. The ones who'd say, we'll be out by Christmas. And then Christmas would come and go. Then they'd say, okay, definitely by Easter. And when Easter passed, they would just They die of a broken heart.
And this is where it gets really interesting because the paradox isn't about being a pessimist, it's a duality. It's holding two opposing ideas at once.
Exactly. You have to maintain this unwavering faith that you will prevail in the end, no matter what. You have to believe you'll succeed, while at the same time you have the discipline to confront the most brutal, harsh facts of your current reality.
So blind optimism kills you, but so does despair.
Right. The great companies mastered this. They never hid from bad numbers or tough competition, but they also never lost that core belief that they could and would become great. That brutal honesty is what allows you to act.
Which leads right into the next idea, because once you're honest about where you are, you can get focused. This is the hedgehog concept.
Yes, this is all about moving from complexity to radical simplicity.
Because most average companies are like the fox, right? They're trying to do a million things at once. They're chasing every shiny object.
Exactly. They diversify because they confuse activity with progress.
Right.
The hedgehog concept demands you find the one thing you do best and stick to it. It's about the intersection of three circles, like a Venn diagram.
Let's break those down. The first circle is, what can you be the best in the world at?
And that's a crucial distinction. It's not just what are we good at. It's a really honest assessment of what you have the potential to be absolutely number one in. If you can't be the best, it can't be your hedgehog concept.
Okay, second circle. What are you deeply passionate about?
This is the fuel.
Yeah.
You can't sustain the effort to be the best if you don't care deeply about what you're doing. Passion is what keeps you pushing that flywheel when it's hard.
And the third, the one I think a lot of people miss, what drives your economic engine?
This forces strategic clarity. You have to find the single metric, the one denominator, that gives you the most insight into your profitability. For Walgreens, it was profit per customer visit. It has to be that one number that if you focus on it, everything else gets better.
This is so powerful because we're always told to diversify. But this says the opposite. It says focus is everything. And you have to have the discipline to say no to good opportunities that fall outside those three circles.
And that's the link to the third pillar, disciplined action. Because having the right people and the right thoughts means nothing if you can't execute, which starts with building a culture of discipline.
When you hear discipline, you usually think of bureaucracy, rigid rules, micromanagement. But that's not what the research showed, is it?
Not at all. In fact, it's the opposite. If you've already done the hard work of hiring disciplined people and they understand the hedgehog concept, you don't need a lot of bureaucracy.
Because the bureaucracy is just there to manage undisciplined people.
It's a crutch. The great companies create what Collins calls freedom within a framework. They give their people enormous freedom and responsibility, but it's all within the clear boundaries of the hedgehog concept.
So we trust you to get it done, but here are the non-negotiable goals.
Exactly. Freedom only works when it's paired with discipline. And that framework then informs how you use things like technology.
Ah, yes. The idea that technology is an accelerator, not a cause. We hear all the time that some new AI tool or software is the secret to success.
And the data just completely rejects that. The good to great companies did not become great because of technology. If that were true, their competitors would have just bought the same technology and made the leap too.
So it's about the timing, the sequence.
It's all about the sequence.
Yeah.
Great companies figure out their hedgehog concept first. They build their culture of discipline first. Then, and only then, do they pioneer the application of technology to accelerate what they're already doing.
So technology magnifies what's already there.
It amplifies momentum.
Yeah.
It doesn't create it. If you apply great technology to a clear strategy, you accelerate greatness.
Right.
If you apply it to a mess, you just accelerate failure.
Which is the perfect lead-in to the final big concept. And it's my favorite metaphor in the book, the flywheel effect.
It's a beautiful image because it captures the true feeling of organizational change. Imagine a giant, heavy, 50-foot flywheel.
Okay.
Your job is to get it spinning. The first push, it barely moves an inch. It takes incredible effort. There's no big breakthrough moment.
Right, it's just a grind.
It's a grind, but you keep pushing. Consistent, disciplined pushes, all in the same direction. A quarter turn, then a half, then a full rotation. And over time, it builds momentum until eventually it's spinning so fast that its own weight works for you. And people from the outside look and say, wow, what an overnight success.
But the people inside, they know. They know there was no single moment, just the relentless day after day push.
Exactly. There was no miracle product, no single acquisition, no magic CEO. It was just the consistent application of all these concepts, building momentum until the breakthrough seemed to happen all at once, even though it took a decade. Consistency beats intensity every single time.
So when you wrap it all up, what Collins gave us isn't really advice, it's a pattern, right? A blueprint that was observed in the data. That research credibility is what makes it so timeless.
Absolutely. It's a serious framework for the long term. But we do have to add a little context. The book focuses on large, established companies. So some of the ideas are, a bit less actionable for a solo entrepreneur or a tiny startup that's still trying to find its way.
That's a fair point. But the core principles, the discipline, the humility, the focus, those still apply, don't they?
They absolutely do. And the fact that some of those companies later declined doesn't invalidate the framework. It just proves the point. The pursuit of greatness is a constant, ongoing discipline. You have to keep confronting the brutal facts.
So what does this all mean for you, the person listening to this right now? The power here is how you can translate these frameworks. Whether you're leading a small team or just managing your own career, these ideas are universal.
The book's final verdict is that greatness is disciplined. It's not dramatic. It's about commitment. And the core takeaway is that sustainable excellence comes from thousands of consistent, disciplined decisions made over a long period of time.
So let's leave you with one final thought to chew on, something that builds on all this. If you applied the hedgehog concept to your own career, right now, focusing only on what you could be the best in the world at, what you're passionate about, and what drives your personal economic engine. One thing that is currently good in your life, but is stopping you from being great, which you stop doing immediately. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive.